What if I told you that one of the most powerful moments in a woman's life isn't when she finds a man, but when she realizes she's lost the man she once took for granted? Have you ever wondered what actually makes a woman start missing the guy she didn't value when she had him? Today we're diving deep into the psychology of women, human nature, and Stoic wisdom, especially Marcus Aurelius, to uncover why this happens, how it unfolds, and what lessons you can take from it. But before we get into it, let me say this. If you're serious about understanding women, mastering your emotions, and building the kind of life and relationships you deserve, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. Stick with me until the end, because what I'm about to share could literally change the way you see love, loss, and self-respect forever. So let's begin. Here's the truth. Women don't miss men who were desperate, clingy, or spineless. They miss the man who had strength, purpose, and quiet dignity. The one who didn't crumble when she pulled away. The one who, even when he was taken for granted, never stopped being himself. Now, Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Let's break that down in the context of relationships. First insight, control yourself, not her. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt like you were constantly walking on eggshells? Like every move you made was just to keep her happy, just to prevent her from slipping away? Be honest with yourself for a second. How many times have you found yourself overthinking a text, replaying a conversation in your head, or desperately trying to figure out, what can I do so she doesn't lose interest in me? I'll tell you something real. That mindset, though natural, is exactly what makes so many men lose themselves. And here's the catch, it almost always backfires. Marcus Aurelius, one of the wisest Stoic thinkers, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." In simple terms, stop trying to control her and start mastering yourself. Let me give you a picture. Imagine a guy, let's call him Alex. He's dating this girl, and at first things are amazing. She laughs at his jokes, texts him good morning, asks about his day. But slowly things shift. She starts canceling plans. She takes hours, sometimes days, to reply. She's distant. And what does Alex do? He panics. He starts calling more, texting more, trying harder to win back that attention. He thinks, if I just do more, she'll realize how much I care. But you and I both know how this story plays out. The more he tries to control the situation, the more she pulls away. Why? Because his energy screams desperation, and nothing kills attraction faster than desperation. Now pause for a second and think, have you ever been Alex? Maybe not in the exact same way, but in some form, trying to fix things, trying to hold on tighter, only to feel them slipping away even faster? Here's the hard truth. When you try to control her, you lose yourself. And when you lose yourself, you lose her respect. The real strength, the real power, is found when you stop obsessing over her actions and start focusing on yours. When you tell yourself, I can't control whether she texts me back, but I can control how I respond. I can't control if she values me today, but I can control the value I place on myself every single day. Think about it like this. Imagine you're holding sand in your hand. If you squeeze too tight, it slips right through your fingers. But if you hold it gently, naturally it stays. That's how relationships work. The tighter you try to control, the quicker you lose. Now let me ask you, what would your life feel like if you shifted that energy inward? Instead of spending hours analyzing her behavior, what if you invested that time into your goals, your fitness, your friendships, your passions? How much more attractive, confident, and grounded would you feel? And here's the paradox. When you stop trying to control her, that's when she starts noticing you again. When you're no longer chasing, when you're no longer panicking, when you're grounded in your own strength, that's when she feels your energy shift. And believe me, women notice that. So the next time you feel that urge to overthink, to chase, to desperately pull her closer, remember Marcus's words, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Control yourself, not her. That's the beginning of real respect, real strength. And ironically, that's the moment she starts to realize what she had in you all along. Second insight, value isn't proven by words, but by absence. Have you ever noticed that sometimes the people we see every single day, the ones who are always around, are the ones we stop appreciating? It's almost like their presence becomes so normal that we forget what life would feel like without them. Until they're gone, That's when the silence hits. That's when you start to realize what you had. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, the way we think shapes the way we feel. And when someone takes you for granted, it's often because their thoughts have been colored by the assumption that you'll always be there. Let me share a story. Picture a guy named James. He loved his girlfriend. Deeply, he told her all the time. Every morning, a good morning text. Every night, a long paragraph about how much she meant to him. He never missed a chance to say, "I love you, I'd do anything for you." At first, she adored it. But slowly, it started to lose impact. Why? Because it was constant, predictable, expected. Words alone, when repeated without contrast, lose their weight. And here's where the twist comes in. The moment James stopped flooding her with reassurance, when he got busy with his own goals, when he pulled back just a little, when she noticed the silence instead of the noise, that's when she started wondering, wait, why hasn't he texted me yet? Does he not miss me? What's going on? See the difference? His absence spoke louder than all his words ever could. Now let me ask you, have you ever been on the receiving end of this? Maybe a friend or a partner who was always there, always calling, always saying the right things, and you kind of brushed it off. But then, when they went quiet, you felt that emptiness in your chest, that little sting of loss, that sudden realization that maybe, just maybe, you undervalued them. That's human psychology. We don't notice the air we breathe until it's gone. We don't crave the water until the well runs dry. And in love, it works the exact same way. Here's the real lesson. Your value isn't in how many times you can say, "I love you." It's not in proving yourself with endless texts, calls, or sacrifices. Your value is in the space you leave when you're not there. It's in the contrast, in the absence. And that's where so many men get it wrong. They think, if I just keep reminding her, she'll understand my worth. But reminders don't create respect. Respect is built when your presence is strong and your absence is felt. So the next time you feel that urge to prove yourself with words, pause. Ask yourself, am I speaking out of love or out of fear? Because if it's fear, you're not actually proving your value. You're diluting it. True value shines when you don't have to keep repeating it. It shines in your quiet strength, in your ability to step back in the power of absence. And believe me, when you do that, she'll notice. She'll feel it. And that's when she'll start missing you. Third insight, stand firm in who you are. You know, one of the easiest traps a man can fall into in a relationship is slowly, almost unconsciously, molding himself into whatever he thinks she wants. It doesn't happen all at once, it's little by little. You compromise your hobbies because she doesn't like them. You cancel plans with your friends because she wants more time. You change how you dress, how you talk, even how you carry yourself, because deep down, you're scared that if you don't, she'll walk away. But let me ask you something. Have you ever done that? Have you ever lost little pieces of yourself just to keep someone else happy? And how did it feel when you looked in the mirror and realized you weren't even you anymore? Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That's the essence of authenticity, living in a way that aligns with your truth, not bending into shapes for approval. Let me give you a story. Imagine a guy named Daniel. He loved playing the guitar. It was his outlet, his escape, his joy. But his girlfriend wasn't into it. She thought it was a waste of time. Every time he picked it up, she'd roll her eyes or make a comment. At first, he shrugged it off. But slowly, to avoid conflict, he played less and less. Eventually, the guitar collected dust in the corner of his room. Now here's the sad part. She didn't respect him more because he gave it up. In fact, she respected him less. Why? Because she saw that he didn't even respect himself, enough to hold on to what mattered to him. And over time, she began to view him as someone she could push and mold at will. Someone without a backbone. Contrast that with another story. Think about a man who says, "This is who I am. These are the things I love. These are the values I live by." Not in an arrogant way, not with hostility, but with calm firmness. A man who stands on his own 2 feet. Women might test that man. They might push against him. But deep down, they admire him. They respect him. And here's the beauty. When he's gone, that's exactly what they miss. They don't miss the chameleon who blended into whatever they wanted. They miss the man who had his own colors, who wasn't afraid to live them out. So let me flip the mirror back to you. What parts of yourself have you given up in past relationships? What passions, friendships, or dreams did you sacrifice just to keep the peace? And how did that work out? Did it make her value you more? Or did it quietly eat away at both your confidence and her attraction? The truth is, when you abandon yourself, you teach her that you can be abandoned too. But when you stand firm, when you live in alignment with your truth, you create a presence that's unforgettable. And that's what Marcus meant. Don't do what isn't right for you. Don't say what isn't true for you. Because in the long run, that's the man she'll miss. Not the man who caved, but the man who stood tall. Fourth insight. Strength is quiet, not loud. You've probably met that guy before, the one who can't stop bragging. He flexes his bank account, talks about how many women want him, raises his voice in arguments just to feel like he's winning. On the surface, he looks strong. But if you look closely, you realize something. All that noise is just a mask. It's insecurity dressed up as power. Now contrast that with another kind of man. The one who doesn't say much, but when he walks into a room, you feel it. He doesn't need to shout. He doesn't need to prove. He doesn't need to put on a show. His calmness speaks louder than any brag ever could. That's real strength. Marcus Aurelius captured this perfectly when he said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Think about that. A good man doesn't announce it. He doesn't debate it. He simply lives it. And when you live it, the world notices, especially women. Here's a story to make it real. Imagine a couple, Michael and Sarah. Whenever they argued, Michael would explode, yelling, pacing, raising his voice, trying to force her to see his side. And every time Sarah would pull further away. She didn't feel safe. She didn't feel respected. And over time, she stopped listening altogether. Michael thought volume was power, but all it really did was push her away. Now imagine another man, let's call him David. In an argument, he stays calm. He listens, he responds without attacking. And when things get too heated, he's willing to step back instead of escalate. He's not weak. He just refuses to let anger control him. And here's the interesting part. Even when Sarah was furious, even when she tested him, she couldn't help but respect that energy. Because deep down, women crave that quiet strength. Now pause for a second. Have you ever been Michael in a relationship? Letting your emotions get the best of you? Thinking the louder you argue, the more control you have? Or have you had moments when you were more like David, steady and calm, and noticed how differently people reacted to you? The truth is, women don't miss the man who shouted the loudest. They don't miss the one who tried to prove himself with noise, drama, or ego. They miss the man who stayed grounded, the one who made them feel safe, the one who didn't need to announce his strength because it radiated from his actions. Think about it. When a woman looks back after a breakup, she'll remember all the chaos of other men, the yelling, the pettiness, the neediness, and then she'll think of you, the one who stayed calm in storms. That's when she feels the difference. That's when she misses you. Because real strength isn't about dominance, it's about composure. It's not about being the loudest in the room. It's about being the one who doesn't have to be. And when you embody that kind of strength, you don't just earn her respect while you're there. You leave an imprint that lingers long after you're gone. So let me ask you, which kind of man are you becoming? The one who spends his energy proving? Or the one who spends his energy being? Because Marcus was right. You don't have to argue about what a good man is. You just have to be one. Fifth insight. Embrace detachment, not bitterness. You know that feeling after a breakup, or when someone has been taking you for granted? That mix of anger, sadness, and the urge to show them what they've lost? It's such a human reaction. Maybe you've caught yourself posting cryptic quotes online. Maybe you've thrown yourself into arguments. Or maybe you've replayed old conversations in your head, thinking of all the things you wish you had said. But let me ask you this. Has bitterness ever really made you feel better? Or does it just keep you tied to the very person you're trying to move on from? Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Read that again because it's everything. If your thoughts are consumed by bitterness, anger, and revenge, then your life is going to reflect exactly that. But if you choose detachment, not coldness, not hate, but genuine detachment, you set yourself free. Let me share a story. There was a man named Robert. His girlfriend left him suddenly, chasing a new relationship. He was crushed. At first, he did what a lot of men do. He got bitter. He texted her insults. He vented to everyone about how terrible she was. He even posted things online to make her jealous. And what happened? Nothing changed. In fact, she lost even more respect for him. And deep down, Robert only felt worse. Because bitterness doesn't heal wounds, it deepens them. Now contrast that with another man, let's call him Adam. Adam went through the same heartbreak, but instead of sinking into bitterness, he chose detachment. He didn't trash talk her, he didn't play games. He focused on himself. He hit the gym, he worked on his career, he spent time with friends who uplifted him. He wasn't pretending he didn't care, he just refused to let bitterness own him. And here's the twist. While Robert's ex felt relief at leaving, Adam's ex eventually started wondering, how is he doing so well without me? That's the power of detachment. So let me ask you, how many times have you wasted nights scrolling through her social media, letting bitterness eat at you? How many times have you thought, I'll show her, I'll make her regret it? And did it ever bring you peace? Detachment, on the other hand, is peace. It's not about being cold. It's about saying, I accept what happened, but I won't let it define me. And ironically, it's detachment, not bitterness, that often makes people miss you. Because bitterness pushes them away, but detachment pulls their curiosity. Here's the truth. When you move on gracefully, when you carry yourself with dignity, you become unforgettable. You become the man she looks back on and thinks, I didn't just lose him, I lost the calm, grounded energy he brought into my life. So remember Marcus's words. Your happiness depends on your thoughts. Don't let bitterness poison them. Instead, embrace detachment. That's how you heal. That's how you grow. And sometimes that's exactly when she realizes what she lost. Sixth insight, purpose makes you unforgettable. Tell me something, have you ever met a man whose whole life revolved around a woman? You know the type. His schedule, his moods, even his sense of worth depended on her. And while it might look romantic at first, over time, it becomes suffocating for both of them. Because when your world shrinks down to one person, you stop being a man she can admire, and you become a man she has to manage. Marcus Aurelius said it beautifully. A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions. That line hits hard, because if your biggest ambition is simply keeping a relationship alive, you're selling yourself short. A man with no purpose is easily forgotten, but a man with purpose, he leaves a mark. Let me tell you a story. There was a guy named Ethan. When he fell in love, he poured everything into his girlfriend. At first, she loved the attention. But slowly, she began to feel something shift. Ethan stopped chasing his dreams. He quit his side projects, stopped hitting the gym, and neglected his ambitions just to spend more time with her. And here's the ironic part. Instead of feeling special, she felt bored. She missed the man she first met, the one who had fire in his eyes, who was chasing something bigger than just her. Eventually, she drifted away. Now contrast that with another man, let's call him Lucas. Lucas loved his girlfriend deeply, but he never stopped pursuing his mission. He was building his career, pushing himself in the gym, learning new skills. His life had momentum. His girlfriend didn't feel like his whole purpose. She felt like part of a much bigger story. And when Lucas wasn't around, she missed him, not just because of the love he gave, but because of the energy he carried. Being with him felt like being part of something alive. Now pause and ask yourself, do you have that? Do you have a purpose that drives you? Something bigger than romance? Something that keeps you moving even when love feels shaky? Or are you living only for her approval, hoping that if you give enough, sacrifice enough, she'll never leave? Here's the truth. Women don't miss the man who abandoned his dreams for them. They miss the man whose dreams lit him up, whose ambition made him magnetic, whose life was so full that it inspired them just to be around him. That's the kind of man who sticks in a woman's mind long after he's gone. And it makes sense, doesn't it? People don't remember the ones who begged for attention. They remember the ones who left a legacy, who lived with fire, who made an impact. So if you want to be unforgettable, don't make her your mission. Make your mission your mission. And let her share in the ride. Because when you live with purpose, you not only command respect while you're present, you create a presence that lingers, even in your absence. That's why Marcus was right. Your worth rises with the worth of your ambitions. The man with a mission doesn't have to worry about being forgotten, because long after he's gone, his presence echoes. And that's exactly the kind of man a woman can't help but miss. Think about it. The man who controls his emotions, who shows his value by absence, who stands firm in his truth, who embodies calm strength, who detaches without bitterness, and who pursues his purpose relentlessly. That's the man who becomes unforgettable. And here's the kicker. By the time she realizes what she lost, it's often too late. That's the bittersweet beauty of it. So ask yourself, are you the kind of man who will be missed when he's gone, or forgotten the moment he walks away? If you got value from this, make sure you subscribe and like this video. It really helps us grow this community of men who want to live stronger, wiser, more stoic lives. And remember, the more you apply these principles, the less you'll be at the mercy of anyone else's approval. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.